To fully understand why that moment ripped through my soul, you have to know where my family came from. My name is Sarah. Growing up, we had absolutely nothing. When my father walked out on us, my mum, Maria, was left to raise my younger brother, Tyler, and me, on a minimum wage income. I remember nights where Mum would serve Tyler and me full plates of chicken and rice, while she sat across from us sipping warm tap water, telling us she already ate at work. It took me until I was 15 to realize she was skipping meals so we wouldn't go to bed hungry. She wore shoes with holes in the soles. She worked holidays, weekends, and night shifts, but she always made sure our homework was done and our clothes were clean. Because of her sacrifices, I got a full scholarship to study software engineering. I worked 80 hours a week, started my own cybersecurity consulting firm in my late 20s, and by the time I turned 32, I had achieved genuine financial freedom. Tyler, on the other hand, was the baby of the family. Mum ruined him with love. While I was grinding through late nights, Tyler was coasting. He barely finished community college, changed jobs every 6 months, and spent most of his 20s living in Mom's tiny rental apartment, expecting her to cook and clean for him. A year ago, I decided it was time to give my mother the retirement of her dreams. I bought a beautiful 4-bedroom modern farmhouse in a wealthy suburban neighborhood. $600,000, paid in full. I put the house in my name, but I handed the keys to my mom. "This is your castle, Mum," I told her as she cried on my shoulder. "No more landlords. No more rent. You just live." Since the house had a full guest suite on the ground floor, my mum, being the overly generous heart she is, invited Tyler to move in so he could save money while working his entry-level sales job. That was her first mistake. 6 months after moving into the house, Tyler met Chloe. Chloe was a self-proclaimed lifestyle influencer who spent most of her day posting selfies on Instagram and talking about manifesting wealth. To Chloe, appearance was everything. When Tyler brought her to the house for the first time, Chloe assumed the $600,000 home belonged to Tyler. Why wouldn't she? Tyler drove my old luxury SUV, which I had gifted him, and he proudly strutted around the property like he was a young real estate mogul. He never explicitly told her he owned it, but he certainly didn't correct her when she kept gushing about his amazing estate. Within 3 months of dating, Chloe moved into the house, and within 4 months, they got married in a quick courthouse ceremony. Because I run my business from various locations, I spent those 4 months traveling across Europe for work. I stayed in touch with my mum via daily phone calls, but Mum was always protective of Tyler. She never wanted to complain. Whenever I asked how things were at home, Mum would say, "Oh, everything is fine, honey. Tyler is happy." But I started noticing subtle red flags. Whenever I called during the day, I'd hear the sound of a vacuum in the background. Mom sounded tired. Exhausted, actually. One day, I caught a glimpse of Chloe's Instagram stories. She had posted a video showcasing her new home renovation. In the video, she pointed to a stack of laundry on the couch and said to the camera, "Oh, the house staff is so slow today. Need to get this place spotless before my girls arrive for brunch." House staff? My stomach dropped. I booked a flight back to Texas that very night. I landed at Dallas, Fort Worth at 9 a.m. on a Friday. I didn't tell Tyler or Mom I was coming. I wanted to see the reality with my own eyes. I pulled up to the house in my rental car. As I walked up the driveway, I noticed Mom's old sedan was parked out on the street because Tyler's sports car and Chloe's convertible were taking up the 2-car garage. I pushed the front door open quietly. That's when I saw it. My mother was on her hands and knees in the hallway, scrubbing the baseboards. She was wearing old sweatpants and an apron. Chloe was leaning against the kitchen counter, wearing a silk robe and designer sunglasses, sipping a mimosa. She had 3 of her influencer friends sitting at the breakfast bar, recording TikTok videos. "Maria!" Chloe barked, snapping her long acrylic nails in the air. "Did you clean the powder room yet? My friends are using it. Make sure you put out the good towels, not the cheap ones." One of Chloe's friends looked over and whispered, "Is she expensive? Good help is so hard to find nowadays." Chloe giggled into her champagne glass. "Oh, she's dirt cheap. She basically lives in the basement suite and works for room and board. Honestly, she's lucky Tyler lets her stay here." My mother didn't say a word. She just nodded humbly, squeezed her scrub brush, and whispered, "Yes, Chloe, right away." I felt a surge of heat press behind my eyes. I didn't just feel anger. I felt an ancient, feral rage. My mother, the woman who worked double shifts to buy me books, was being treated like an indentured servant in a house times I times built with my own sweat and late nights. I dropped my leather weekend bag onto the hard floor. The loud times, thud times, echoed off the high ceilings. Everyone in the kitchen turned around. Chloe raised an eyebrow, looking me up and down. I was wearing an oversized hoodie, sneakers, and no makeup after my flight. To her, I looked like an unexpected delivery driver. "Can I help you?" Chloe asked, crossing her arms disdainfully. "Private property. You can't just walk in here." I ignored her completely. I walked straight past her, knelt down on the floor, took the wet scrub brush out of my mother's hands, and pulled her up to her feet. "Mom," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "Get up." Mom looked terrified. "Sarah, honey, you're back early. It's fine. I said get up, Mom," I repeated softly, wrapping my arm around her shoulder. Chloe scoffed loudly, rolling her eyes to her friends. Excuse me, why are you touching our maid? Who are you?" I turned around slowly to face Chloe. The room was dead silent. "First of all," I spoke, my voice ringing out like a judge delivering a sentence, "this woman is not a maid. She is Maria. She is my mother." Chloe chuckled mockingly. "Oh, so you're Tyler's sister? Look, I get it. Family pride and all that. But your mom offered to help around the house since Tyler and I provide her with free housing. It's called contributing." "Free housing?" I asked, stepping closer to the counter. "Yeah," Chloe smirked, adjusting her sunglasses. "Tyler owns this house. He lets her live in the guest suite out of charity. So the least she can do is keep the place clean for us." At that exact moment, the front door opened, and Tyler walked in carrying a bag of golf clubs. He saw me, saw our mum standing next to me, and the colour instantly drained from his face. "Sarah?" Tyler stuttered, dropping his keys. What are you doing here?" "Tyler, babe," Chloe whined, running over to him. "Tell your sister to back off. She just walked in here interrupting Maria while she was doing her chores." Tyler looked at me, then at the mop bucket, then at Chloe. He knew he was dead. "Tyler," I said, keeping my eyes locked on him, "did you tell your wife that you own this house?" Tyler swallowed hard. Sweat began forming on his forehead. "Sarah, look, it was just a misunderstanding when we started dating." "Tyler!" Chloe snapped, frowning. "What is she talking about?" I pulled my phone out of my pocket, tapped a few buttons, and brought up the official Texas County Land Registry portal. I walked over and held the screen 2 inches from Chloe's face. "Read the deed, Chloe," I said calmly. Chloe glanced at the screen. Her eyes scanned the official county seal, the property address, and then landed on the owner's name, Sarah Vance. "Owner, Sarah Vance." Chloe read out loud, her voice dropping an octave. This entire property, I stated, is registered 100% to me. Tyler doesn't own a single brick of this building. He doesn't pay property taxes. He doesn't pay the insurance. He pays nothing. Chloe stared at Tyler, her mouth hanging open in absolute horror. Her friends in the background quickly put their phones away, looking deeply embarrassed. Tyler, Chloe gasped, her voice shrill. Is this true? You don't own this place? Tyler couldn't even look her in the eyes. He stared at his shoes in complete, pathetic silence. The realization hit Chloe like a freight train. The luxury life she had been bragging about on social media, the house staff she had been mocking, it was all built on a complete lie. And here is the new rule, I said, addressing the entire room. My mother is not the maid. My mother is the primary guest of this home. You two? You were the freeloaders. I turned to Tyler. Tyler, you have 30 days to pack your things and find an apartment you can actually afford on your own salary. And Chloe. I looked at her designer sunglasses. Your 30 days start right now. If I see you snap your fingers at my mother again, I will have the sheriff escort you off my property before sunset. Chloe tried to argue. She started crying, yelling at Tyler for tricking her, calling him a fraud. Her influencer friends awkwardly gathered their purses and snuck out the front door without saying a single word. Within 2 weeks, Tyler and Chloe moved into a small, one-bedroom rental apartment on the edge of town. Without the illusion of wealth, their marriage hit rock bottom fast. Last I heard, they are currently in marriage counseling, trying to figure out how to pay rent on Tyler's real income. As for my mum, I hired a professional cleaning service that comes to the house twice a week. Mum is officially forbidden from touching a mop. Now, she spends her mornings sitting on her sunny back porch, drinking coffee, reading books, and gardening. Because the woman who sacrificed everything so I could succeed deserves to live like a queen. And nobody times will ever treat her as anything less in my house. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. If you love your mother and believe in standing up for family, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life story times. Until next time, protect the people who sacrificed for you.